All right. Are we live? Is this really happening? Today is, it's not looking at me though. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I got to look at the right place. I don't know where to look first. Good morning. It's Sean Shapiro. That's who I am. Let me fix my collar because it doesn't look right. There we go. This is Ask a Traffic Cop for April 26, 2022, where we answer your traffic and police questions for an hour. We had some technical difficulties, which slowed my roll, and we are, as a result, 7 minutes late. Yes, sorry about that. All right, let's get into it. I got my water. I have audio that sort of works for the folks on TikTok, and I have a different background using some OBS magic to get some stuff on screen. This is not working for me. Let's see here. Let me do some twisting stuff around here. Trying to balance the world. All right, here we go. I think this is better. Is this better? I'll move it over this way. I can do it like this. There we go. Trying to get my cameras all set up. Okay, what are we doing? We are answering your traffic and police questions, and we're ignoring Instagram this morning. We're not on Instagram because that was just too many phones to set up at home. I am home today. I'm not at the office. I had to take today off, but I didn't want to leave you guys left out. So we're doing it from the house. Let's open up the chat and see who's here. Hey, it's Akila Draconis. We got Ryan Pinn, Rob Baker, and there's an assumption that I'm off buying tickets for the Harley Davidson draw. That's an allegation I can neither confirm nor deny. HarleyRaffle.ca. We are giving away a Harley Davidson. It's not actually us who's running the raffle. We are simply supporting it because it's for a great cause. Who's doing it? What's it for? Well, that is for the Special Olympics. We're giving away a motorcycle. We're selling motorcycle tickets, raffle tickets to win a motorcycle, and the money raised goes towards, yes, the fine folks at Special Olympics Ontario. Okay, I want to start off. Boy, apparently I shouldn't have left it sitting on TikTok looking at a picture of some heavily tinted windows. Instead, I should have been on traffic services so I could tell you where the fine folks of Vision Zero are this morning. Let me go and do that for you right now. They are in 32 Division and 53 Division, which means they're in the neighborhoods of Downsview, Willowdale, Newtonbrook, Bathurst Manor, Lawrence Park, Yonge and Eglinton, Rosedale, and Leaside. Now, that's not the only places within those divisions that they'll be policing. And what does it mean? What do they do? Well, they are a dedicated team of individuals. They are out there specifically working to reduce the behaviors that lead to serious injury and death. Yes, they are out there looking for speeders, impaired drivers, distracted drivers, and aggressive drivers. See what I did there? I mixed it all up. It's not the order of operations you're used to. Ha ha! Yes, I like to make it interesting. So that's what they are today, and that's what they're doing today, but they do that every day. They're always out there looking to make a change one ticket at a time. It's not always what people want. People think that they should get warnings, or maybe they should be allowed to do what they want and not get tickets. But you know what? I'm sorry. You shouldn't be driving the way you're driving. If you get pulled over, no hugs, just tickets. Can you get a distracted driving ticket on a bike? See what I just did there? I chose a question from TikTok because we have folks, about 300 people in the room, who are adding questions to the Q&A function. See, if you ask in the chat, you're going to get an answer in the chat from one of our magical moderators who are volunteers, not paid members, not police officers. They are simply there helping out. And if you ask a Q&A question, you're going to get me. And if you're watching on YouTube or Twitch or Twitter, Instagram, well, Instagram, we're not there today. YouTube, you're going to get me in the chat and I will see everything you say. But on the other platforms, it's only in the Q&A. Who popped in here? Okay. And yes, people out of province can buy tickets for the raffle. There is an Ontario lottery license, and we're not promoting it outside, but if you happen to come by and buy a ticket, I'm sure you could win. Okay,
We had a question earlier, actually, about if tint is a fix-it ticket. Can you repeat that to the chat, though?
Yes, the question that Q just reiterated into my ear was, is tint a fix-it ticket? And I will answer that in just a moment, because right now I realize I read the question but never answered it. Can you get a distracted driving ticket on an e-bike? And the answer is no. The Highway Traffic Act for that particular charge does not apply to bikes, e-bikes or bikes. So bicycle or e-bike, power or non-power. Distracted driving doesn't count. However, in a motor vehicle, it does. And now one thing that we should mention is on a pedal bike, impaired driving isn't a thing. Maybe unsafe and it may be public intoxication and whatnot. There could be other things going on, but specifically impaired driving isn't a thing. However, on an e-bike, it is. you can be charged for impaired driving on an e-bike. That's an interesting segue between two things that were unrelated. So the question, Q, that I just reiterated, but then did I answer it? I don't think I did.
What? Yes, you did.
Well, I did. I answered the question you asked me.
No, you did not.
That's what I said.
Ticket.
Fix-it ticket. Tint is not a fix-it ticket. If you are issued a ticket for tint, you are guilty of the offense when you were charged. That's why you were charged for it. Now, if the court sees fit to withdraw it because they saw that you made, that major life-changing event of taking accountability for your actions and taking the tint off your vehicle, they may choose to withdraw it. That's on them. But it's not a fix-it ticket from the police where you go to the police station and say, see, I took it off, and we would withdraw it. No, we file electronically. It's with the courts. You now take it up with the courts. Question from Sebastian Pino. Spino? Sebastian Espino? I don't know where to put the space. That's what underscores are for. Okay, can I drive without a front bumper? No, a front bumper is required safety equipment, and your vehicle is unsafe without it. So why would that be? Why do you think? Well, first of all, a front bumper is designed to take on impact, absorb impact. It's also designed to lessen, if you can believe this, impact on pedestrians. You need them there. Without it, chances are your pedestrian, instead of going up and over, will go below, and the injuries will be far more severe. Is there a height limit that a truck can be lifted to? 3 inches is the... I got to put where's my monitor? Why don't I hear? Oh, now I hear myself. It's so weird not hearing myself. It was like wearing earmuffs. Anyway, okay. Is there a height limit? Yeah, 3 inches is the maximum body lift kit that you can put on a vehicle that is still considered safe from what we've been told. And every vehicle that is beyond that, you're going to risk the chance of being pulled off the road and having your plates removed. Now, there are situations and ways to custom build a vehicle that is beyond that of an average build or information that I can provide you right now. What is this? Would this work?
I can't see it. But here's a question.
It's an iRig, and I wonder if I could get a microphone in here. Never mind.
Okay.
I have all this electronics here. I have microphones for days, like just microphones everywhere. Yes, the home studio, stuff everywhere. Okay, go on. What's up?
When making a turn, do I have to wait for pedestrians to be off the road? Can you specify about the crossings?
This is a great question. We actually had some questions about this recently, and it's a great opportunity. Maybe we'll clip this, or we'll make a video specifically on it. What do you do when you come to a pedestrian crosswalk? And yes, they can't hear you. So I'm going to repeat the question. So if the folks on YouTube can hear Q, but nobody else on TikTok can't hear you. So if you are if there's a pedestrian in a crosswalk is a standard crosswalk at an intersection. You don't have to wait until they leave the roadway entirely. However, you have to yield to pedestrians. So you can't get in their path. You can't prevent them from entering the roadway. If they're one step away from putting their foot in the intersection, you have to wait until they pass the section of roadway that you're on. So if they're if you want to go south, you got to wait till they pass your side of the road so that you can then continue. However, in something called a pedestrian crossover, and there are many throughout the city of Toronto, a PXO, they're marked, they have lights above them, and they're not related to an intersection. Those, you must wait until the pedestrian is completely off the roadway. And there's something I should add. At a crosswalk, so at an intersection, if there is a crossing guard present, you must wait until all pedestrians are completely off the road, including the crossing guard. So it does change when there's a crossing guard. I think we need to make a dedicated video. I'm sure we've done this before, but we'll do it again. Just because I don't want to rewind and say that all over again. Hey, if you don't already follow us, please do. We'd love to have you as part of our community. We do this Monday to Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. And we go live. And we post videos. And you know what? They're fun. They're educational. And we would love to have your input. If you've got questions, throw them in the Q&A or add comments. We try and respond to everything. It doesn't always work, but we do make efforts to do it. Let's see. How bad is it to ride dirt bikes on the street? Well, dirt bikes, if you mean your BMX with lots of pedal power and it's all muscular, it's no problem. They're bicycles and they're allowed. If you're talking about a motorcycle that is an off-road dirt bike, then it's completely illegal in the city of Toronto. And in fact, it's completely illegal anywhere. They're not meant for the road. You can't get them plated. You can, however, in some situations, convert them for the road. That's an entirely different process. And when they are converted from the road, you have to have them licensed, insured, and driven or ridden by a licensed operator, a licensed rider. But in terms of just taking them on the road for a spin, you can't do it. Now, you can if you have a plated and insured ATV, a four-wheeler. There are different jurisdictions that allow them. Now, Toronto's not one of them. They're not permitted on the road at all. But you can in other jurisdictions that permit them. Can you drive a Jeep on the highway without doors? And they actually, I rephrased that. They said, can you drive on a highway in a Jeep without doors? Yes, you can. Yes, you may. Should you? Would you? It's perfectly legal to do that. Whether it's something you consider safe, that's up to you. Doors for that vehicle are optional. You can remove them. They're part of the way they're designed. I think that's awesome. Not necessarily safe, but I ride a motorcycle, which some people don't think is safe. But the deal is, a highway is any road in Ontario, including expressways, and you can ride them anywhere or drive them anywhere. I see comments from Ryan about ATVs.
I love Emma.
You love Emma? That's good. Does she know that?
Oh, no, she can't hear me, but she'll hear it on the YouTube.
I just repeated that you love Emma. So she does hear you. And now we're silent. Q would like to remind you that you should boop the snoop. She says tap on the screen if you're watching on TikTok, and share the live stream on everywhere. If you're regardless of the platform you're watching, and I think the majority of folks are currently watching. No, we got folks on Facebook, we got folks on Twitch, and we have folks on YouTube. But wherever you are, please share this on your social mediums, tweet about it, and let the world know what we're doing, because we really want more people at the party. The more people we can share this information with, that we can answer these questions, the better. We know that if you've got a question, others likely have the same questions. So this is helping lots of folks when you ask a question. Tinto Tozy coming in from Montreal via Facebook. Good morning. How are you? What is this? Questions about dropping off children at the side of the road in high traffic? So the deal is, if you're stopping somewhere, it has to be somewhere that you can legally stop. But children or adults, regardless, if you're stopping to let someone out of your vehicle, you got to do it safely. I don't know if there's specific rules in Montreal or Quebec for it. I'm not aware of specific age-appropriate rules for letting children out of your vehicle, for instance, stopping your car. But if you're in a no-stopping zone or a no-parking zone, no stopping, no standing zone, I should say, there's very specific rules. And Aaron Urquhart, who is not with us today because I'm in my basement, would be the right person to talk to about that. So maybe we'll bring it up on another show to get you that answer. What is this? Oh, here's an interesting one. Could I be at fault if I lend my car a person with no license? Absolutely. Yes, you would be absolutely at fault for loaning a vehicle to a friend who is not a licensed driver. You are responsible to make sure that whomever you loan your vehicle to is licensed properly and permitted to be on the road. So that includes if they're under suspension. It's not enough to say, oh, they showed me a license. That's not sufficient. You have to go to the Ontario website. The Ontario MTO has a driver's license check. If you Google it, you'll find it. It's free. They'll verify the status of a license. That is the only way that you can confidently loan your vehicle out and know that you won't be charged under the Highway Traffic Act for allowing an unlicensed driver to drive your vehicle, because that's bad. Let's see here. Can I drive on a 400 highway alone with my G2? Yes. With a G2, you can operate on your motor vehicle that you're licensed for. So that's anything that a G license would allow you to drive. Anywhere in Ontario, actually, you can go interprovincially, and anywhere you can go into the States, as long as you're following the rules or the conditions of your license. So the zero alcohol and so on. What is this? Oh, tuck and roll. Ryan Pinn says you have to tell people to tuck and roll before you dump them out of your car. Funny. Not actually the law. You don't want to, yeah. I have to be careful. People might believe me when I read your comment and think that I'm endorsing that. We're not endorsing jumping out of moving vehicles, just in case anyone was wondering. Let's see here. Steve Foote just made some comments on Facebook, but I'm not seeing them pop up, and I don't know why they're not popping up, but they're showing up. Maybe they're for other things. Maybe he's not making comments in the live. Okay. Any advice for an early resolution meeting? Get as much information, ask lots of questions, find out what they're willing to offer you, and then make your decision. And one thing to tell you about early resolution is that the results they're binding if you accept them, but if you choose not to accept whatever they're offering, you can still go to trial. That's up to you. It doesn't mean you're going to do better by going to trial. It just means that you don't have to accept the early resolution meeting offer.
Someone can't read the chat responses. Mods are frustrated. What are
Oh,
the exemptions for helmets on a motorcycle? Can you please verbally answer?
yes. So the parent Q just read off, and if you were on YouTube, you'd hear Q speaking. But since you're not, I'll repeat for you. People want to know what the rules are about helmets and what the exemptions are. The rules are you have to wear a helmet. The exemption is if you are a member of the Sikh faith and you're wearing a turban because you follow the rules of the faith, then you are exempt from wearing a helmet while you're riding. So that's the only exemption that I'm aware of. Everybody else has to wear a helmet. A lot of people don't like that, and that's too bad for you if you don't like it. You deal with your rules, and everybody else will deal with their rules. That's all I got to say about that. Um, is there a limit to the amount of people in a car? Yes, the number of seatbelts. If you have 5 seatbelts, it's a 5-seater vehicle. Now, if you have a vehicle that was manufactured before seatbelts were required, it's seating positions, not necessarily seatbelts. But there is such a thing as overcrowding, and people have to be in a spot that was designed to hold a passenger. So that doesn't mean put 5 people across the back seat, which was designed to originally carry 2. And that is that. Okay, moving on. Oh, spam. Spam, yes. For the folks who are asking questions in the spam can, which is our chat, please know that if you ask a question in the chat, you're going to get answered in the chat by a moderator who is an unpaid member. They are volunteers and not police officers. And that's where the answer goes. I won't see it because I don't read the chat. So I apologize in advance for ignoring you, but that's how it works. I use the Q&A. If you want me to see it, put it in the Q&A. And if you...
Someone, oh, sorry.
Yes, Q is just
Someone,
interrupting me and saying something, so I will regurgitate the information once she gives it to me. Go ahead.
okay, someone was just saying, so then what about if I don't want to wear a helmet, I just wear a turban?
If you are a member of the Sikh faith, and I imagine you will know all the things that you'll be able to discuss at the side of the road with the police officer, then yeah, if you could verify that you were wearing it for that reason, I'm sure you could not wear it. Now, here's a question. What's your problem? Let people follow their faiths and move on with your life. You wear a helmet because you are required to, and if you are following the rules of that faith, then do what that allows you to do. But don't be frustrated and have a fit and be a child about it. Okay. Can I wear no shoes while driving? Can I wear flip-flops? Flip-flops are legal. No shoes are legal. Are they the safest, best option? No. I would suggest wearing proper shoes that give you support. And when you slam that brake, you know that you can do it confidently without hurting your toes. Also, you don't want to slip off the pedal and have any issues there. Additionally, in the event of a collision, you don't want to be walking around in broken glass with burning, cars and things, and just, you don't want an ouchie, right? You don't want to get hurt. So the safest option is to not go barefoot or in flip-flops. Flip-flops also have a terrible tendency of slipping off and getting stuck behind pedals, and that's a bad thing. Can you drive in the United States with your G2? Yes, you can, but you have to follow all the conditions. What are the laws on motorized bikes? Well, if you mean motorcycles, they require a motorcycle license. If it's a low-powered motorcycle, it needs a low-powered motorcycle license, license and insurance. If you mean a motorized bicycle, where someone decided that it would be a good idea to take a 50cc or 30cc or 80cc or however many cc gasoline engine and strap that onto a bicycle, well, that just transformed it magically into a motorcycle, and it too requires license, ownership, and insurance. However, because it hasn't been approved by Transport Canada, it isn't a motorcycle that can be licensed for the road, so it's available only for use on private property. They are totally illegal for the road or any park that you would bring it to. If you're talking about an e-bike, which is also a form of motorized bicycle, e-bikes that exceed 32 kilometers an hour or are capable of exceeding 32 kilometers an hour or have motors over 500 watts have other rules. If you exceed those, you are on a motorcycle, low power or otherwise. If it is, we talked about it in a video yesterday. What if I can do 60 kilometers an hour in my e-bike? Well, it's not an e-bike then. It's a motor vehicle, as are all e-bikes, but the legislation calling it an e-bike and giving it the benefits of no license, no insurance, and no registration only apply to those that conform to the rules. If you are an e-bike, you can do what e-bikes can do. And you can Google that. I do occasionally refer people to Google because there's some good information. City of Toronto has tons of information on e-bikes, because you have to be 16 to operate one. You have to wear a helmet. You can't go on sidewalks. There's a bunch of things you need to know. And it's your responsibility to know what the rules are before you get on the road. So things to know. That's what we do here. But the details, the nuts and bolts of it, you should really look it up because being able to print it out and study that, it's better than watching a video of me. What's the most common parking mistakes? I will defer to Erin, who is not here, so maybe we can get her to come in tomorrow if she's around, and we can talk about parking. I would say that the most common parking mistakes from a police officer's perspective that doesn't write parking tickets often would be that they don't renew their parking in time, or they park in places that are totally not legal, just the wrong place. And one of the biggest things has to be rush hour route parking, which I don't know if they brought that back yet, but folks don't seem to understand that during rush hour, the parking is no longer possible. So 4:30 is when it used to kick in. 4:35, people are wondering why their cars are gone. It's because it's rush hour. Okay, question from X. Hi, from in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan or Saskatoon? I don't know. We're going Sask. Which one is it? You don't get a choice where you can be in. What is this? You don't get a choice as to where you can be an officer. Unfortunately, is this the same in Ontario? So the deal is that no. If you apply to the Toronto Police, you get hired by Toronto. You work in Toronto. Within the Toronto, it is going to be. Within Toronto could be different divisions, and it's not necessarily your choice. If you work for the OPP, it could be anywhere in the province. If it's RCMP, it could be anywhere in Canada. But definitely there's some choice because where you apply is your choice. And you had another question: is what about an electric longboard or a Manila longboard that can go 40 kilometers an hour? The deal with longboards or shortboards or skateboards or boards with wheels and motors, they're not legal for the road. They are not motor vehicles, and they are an electric device, but they're not motor vehicles, so they don't fall under certain laws, but they're certainly not legal for the road. Are illuminated rooftop signs legal, like taxi signs? I imagine taxi signs are legal. Do you mean ones that flash certain colors? There are vehicles I've seen with total lighting, but if they're projecting light in directions that are illegal, they're eligible for tickets. It's an interesting question because I've seen some vehicles with large signboards, and those lights are beyond the 300 candela maximum. If that was facing forward, it would totally be improper headlights. Steven says, hi and good morning. How are you today? I'm doing well. I'm working from the home studio, but which wasn't a planned event. Things went off the rails today, and I am home because I have someone in the house who's under the weather, and I'm aside from this 1 hour, I am taking care of them. But I wanted to make sure that I got to spend time with you guys. So they are not requiring my assistance for the time being, and I'm freed up to do this. Are laser jammers legal? Absolutely not. Laser jammers and radar detectors are covered under a piece of law that talks about preventing police from measuring your speed. Essentially, it's the wording, if I can put this together in the next couple of seconds, is that of speed measurement detection device. So that would be a radar detector, but when you read into it, it talks about anything that prevents police from accurately measuring your speed, which would then cover the laser jammer. So what happens there? A, it's illegal to use, it's illegal to possess, and it's illegal to sell in the province of Ontario. Oddly enough, we have people who manufacture them in Ontario, and the one exemption is if it's in its original package being exported, it is permissible to transport it in that capacity because they ship things out of the province. But if we suspect that you have one on you, on your person or on your vehicle, we can search without warrant that vehicle. We can seize what we find, and we charge you. It's a $170 ticket, and it comes with 2 demerit points on conviction. I love that little piece of info. What is this? We need 51,000 likes on the live stream, please. 51,000? Where are we at? It's like 6 point. That's a lot of likes. If you would be so kind and acquiesce to Q's request, that would be to tap until your fingers go numb. She asks for that, and that's all her. Likes are great. I appreciate them, but they aren't required. The folks that are here are getting the information. If we get to share with other people, then fine. And if you are new here and don't know who I am, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service here in Ontario, Canada, and I go on TikTok and other social media platforms every single day I'm in the office, and even when I'm in my basement. So, because I want to make sure that I'm here to answer your traffic and police questions, because there's a lot of questions. Some of them are the same, some of them are new, and they're always valuable. If you're watching us on TikTok, fantastic. Put your question in the box that is marked Q&A or question mark with a bubble, because that's how I get to see it. If it's in the chat, I don't see it, but my magical moderators do, and if they know the answer, they will answer there. They are not police officers. They are not paid members. They are volunteers. If you are watching us anywhere else, and that includes the folks that are currently coming in through YouTube and Twitch and on Facebook, but we are also on LinkedIn Live, and occasionally we get hellos from there. I need
Your
water.
viewers are so sweet. They're actually booping this Snoop.
Ah.
It's going. It's going.
Awesome. Oh, I see. 11.7 thousand. Phew, it's going up there. Proper way to signal when using a roundabout. Thank you for asking. I want to say that I hate roundabouts. I want to say that, but I don't actually hate them. I just dislike them when people don't know how to use them. So I really appreciate talking about these. Well, how do we say this? If you're traveling into a roundabout, you have to yield to whomever is inside the roundabout because they have the right of way. In terms of signaling, there's nowhere else to go. So you go in, you don't have to signal in. However, you need to signal out. And when you go out, it's signaling to let the person who's coming in know that you're leaving. So it's the same as signaling a turn. You're signaling your intention to change because there's an assumption that you are in it to win it if you don't. I just realized I'm blocking the whole camera every time I touch the screen. My bad. I'll come from I'll hit the screen from this side. See, go ahead.
Are you accepting moderator applications?
We're in a stall right now. We're just waiting for our employment unit and our volunteer unit to figure out how we're categorizing moderators going forward because you're officially volunteers. And that is why we've held off. But by all means, send us your applications. Get involved with our little community on, what's it called? Discord. That's what it's called. Join us on Discord, and Q will put up some links so you can join in. And it hasn't been as active, and it's mostly my fault. I haven't been as active on Discord as I would have liked, just being busy life on my end. But I look forward to doing more stuff and things on Discord, and that's where the application process is for becoming a moderator. What is this? Oh, stop sign blocked by an illegally parked truck. Ran the stop. Do you get a ticket? It depends. If that would be a situation where if you truly didn't see it, I would circle back and take photos of that illegally parked truck. But it depends. If there's a stop bar, if it's a slow speed environment, should you have been looking far enough ahead to figure it out? Maybe. It all depends. I can't tell you that it is without knowing and seeing for myself what I saw. But an officer who's doing stop sign enforcement would have looked for those things prior to setting up for stop sign enforcement, and would think that they would put that into play or take that into consideration. I don't think I would lay a ticket to someone for running a stop sign that they had no way of seeing, but that's just me. Whenever we do speed enforcement, we go and have a look at the area to make sure the signs are posted. It's not just, I think I'm going to stop that car because, no, I got to do some homework and make sure that everything is the way it is supposed to be to conform with the law before I start enforcing said law. What is this? Oh, I don't know if you're going to like my answer. But tell people that the left lane is a passing lane. Yes, it is. It is for passing, but during that process of passing, you're not permitted to exceed the speed limit at all, not 1 kilometer. It is a passing lane for passing people who are traveling below the speed limit. That's it. So if the speed limit is 100, the maximum speed while passing is 100. Yeah, like I said, I didn't think you were going to like my answer. But if you are just hanging out in the left lane and you're doing 80, get out of there. Move over. Stay to the right because slower traffic is supposed to go right. And then people say, well, what about people who go really slow? Well, it's not illegal to go below the speed limit. The maximum posted is the maximum, not the minimum. And like I said, no one likes my answer, but it is the answer. My license plate is peeling. Is that illegal? Well, yes, it is. It is illegal. You need to get it replaced. If it's within 5 years, it's covered under warranty. If it's a B series plate, it may still be covered under warranty regardless of how long it is because those were acknowledged very, very openly as being defective. And you know what? Yeah, it's a $110 ticket if you don't get it fixed because it's for not having your license plate plainly visible, plainly legible, plainly readable. I don't know which word we're going to use to describe it today. However, it must be, I think it's plainly visible. I'm trying to remember the exact wording. You know what? There's a lot of things bouncing around in here. Trying to remember all of them is not always easy, but I do my best. The refund sticker check bounced. You know why? I got my suspicions, but mine went through, and that's all I care about. But that was good. I wasn't expecting that. Let's see here. Uh, Unless you were serious, and if you're serious, I don't know. But I figured you were making a joke, and I was giving you full credit for being hilarious. Okay. Is there a no? Let's see here. What's this? With all the questions, my car is illegal. It's what, a lot of people have cars that are not following the rules, and they just didn't know. They were taking bad advice from a friend, even a website that might be stationed somewhere where it is legal to do what you've done following their suggestions. So that's why one of the reasons we're here is to try and dispel rumor and explain things just like that. We want to make sure that you're doing things legally and safely. Is there a limit as to how wide my car can be? Q is going to probably put this up on screen in 8 seconds before I can finish saying I don't remember the number. There is a maximum width for motor vehicles, and I doubt your wide body kit will actually meet it. Think about a Hummer. A Humvee is a super wide vehicle. Unless you're wider than a Hummer, I don't think you've got anything to worry about. That being said, the problem is not when the body extends beyond the tires so much as it is when the tires extend beyond that of the fender, flare, or body. And as predicted, Q just threw up she threw up on the screen. She said that a width of 3.7 meters on a 2-lane highway and 3.85 on multi-lane highways is the maximum width of a vehicle. So that's probably the absolute maximum. And our lanes in Toronto are like 3.5 meters. So I can't imagine where that would be a standard car or sports car or wide body car. Where is that coming from, Q? The 3.7 meters on a 2-lane. Or is that the width of the lane, or is that the width of a vehicle permitted on the lane? Seems like a strange number, considering I think it's 3.5 meters for the lane itself. We'll have to look into this. I've always just I have to go look at it. But in any case, if it's not wild and crazy, it should be fine. But yeah. Okay, moving on, because I don't have anything valuable to add here, other than I got to look it up, and we'll have to talk about this again. And you're here all the time, so I know we can talk about this at another show. Are we obligated to answer DUI questions? So you have to comply with the demand, and there's certain questions that you do have to. You have to provide your breath sample. It's not just DUI questions. Like there's, if they have a roadside screening device and you're complying, they need to know how long since your last drink. You need to be able to cooperate to some degree, right? Do you have to talk about how old your dog is and the small talk that might come with? That's just being polite. You have to provide your identification information and certain pieces of information to comply with the demand. But beyond that, I don't know what kind of questions we're asking these days. What is this? If stopped without violation, do you have to show papers? So papers, regardless of when you are or why you are stopped, if you are the driver of a motor vehicle and we demand your license, ownership, and insurance, you are obligated to provide those. Why? Because at any time you can be stopped for the purposes of checking to see if you are licensed, to make sure that your vehicle is insured in compliance with the Act, and to ensure that you are sober and capable of legally operating the motor vehicle. Those are without any other violation. Those are able and on the table as lawful reasons to stop you. And yes, you have to show the papers for your vehicle, your license, and your insurance. Can I get a fine if my dog ain't connect seatbelt? If your dog can connect a seatbelt on their own, kudos to that dog. But no, there's no seatbelt law for puppies or piranhas. There's no law for animals to be secured. It is safer for them, for you, for everyone involved. And if they're on your lap, that is an offense. That's careless driving for you. Possibly drive while crowded if it's not at the careless point. Regardless, it's illegal for you to have them on your lap. Stickers aren't a thing now. Can I remove my stickers? Yes, you can, assuming your vehicle is up to date, because we will see it. Are mobility scooters covered under the Highway Traffic Act? There is some discussion. It's oddly enough, some things are included by way of omission, which is a strange way of saying sometimes we cover everything but the one thing you're looking for. But based on the way that it's described, we know that falls into other areas. So, because nothing is clear. Mobility scooters, I don't think there's a section for them. Wheelchairs, if you're in a wheelchair, you are considered a pedestrian. If you're a mobility scooter under normal use, you're generally considered a pedestrian. But if you're in a mobility scooter under the Criminal Code of Canada, you are considered driving a motor vehicle, and you are eligible to be charged for impaired operation if you were on a mobility scooter, which is usually a surprise to many. What is the minimum age to sit in the front seat of a motor vehicle? There is no minimum age. The age and location are not regulated. In a seat belt and on a seat versus in a child restraint is regulated. You have to be 8 years old, 80 pounds, or 4'9" in order to sit in a seat without a child restraint or booster. Now, there is a suggested age for sitting in the front seat, and that is we tell people to stay in the back seat where it's safest until they're 14 years old, at which point they can move on up. People say, well, I'm 6'7" when I'm 13. That's great. The specialists, the sciencey people, the doctors and medical people, they say backseat until 14 for safety. As much as you may be very developed, your skeletal system is allegedly not developed. And I am not a doctor, so I'm only repeating what people have told me in that situation. I played a doctor on TV. Sometimes. No. Can I get pulled over for not paying parking tickets? I don't think we would. No, you can't renew your license or license plate without renewing your parking tickets, at which point you might be unlicensed or your plate may be invalid and you can get pulled over for that. But simply for owing on parking, we don't pull people over because we see that they owe a balance. What? I have no sound effects here. I'm so disappointed. Maybe I can make my own. No, I'm not going to make my own. What tint percentage is illegal? So, according to standard, the light truck and passenger vehicle inspection guide, 30% light blockage is the maximum amount of tint you can have on the windows left and right of the driver. You can have anything you want in the back for the rear window and the rear passenger windows. That is open season. However, you must have one mirror view to the rear that is clear of obstructions. So it's either a left or a right window. It's not window, but rear view mirror on the side view mirror. Because if you tint your rear window out completely, well, the mirror on the back is no longer a valid one. You cannot have any tint at all whatsoever on the front windshield. That's a thing. Excuse me. And if your vehicle is older than 2017, so 2016 or before, you can have a 3-inch tint strip across the top. That is it. That is the max. But you asked about percentage, and it's, once again, 30%. Now, this is something that I've had conversations with many officers about. Well, what if I can't see the person inside? There is another charge under the Highway Traffic Act that says obscure interior of vehicle with color or reflective coating. If I can't see you, it's illegal, regardless if it's 30% or not, because there's something called atmospheric conditions. The sun is up, I see you. The sun is down, I don't. Well, guess what? You're responsible for having the interior of your vehicle viewable from the outside in 24/7. So, if you have a dark tinted vehicle, you may be only able to drive it during the day. Sounds ridiculous, but guess what? As a police officer, I need to verify if you are on your phone, if you are wearing your seatbelt. Those are things that I must be able to verify for safety. People don't like it. Also, folks who are involved in motor vehicle collisions, folks that are wanted by police, people who are, there's an Amber Alert. I need to know what's going on in that vehicle. And it's not just me, it's every member of society looking in. You can find other ways to discreetly pick your nose. Tint is not one of them. Okay. Do you need to give G1 before M1? No, you can get your M1 before you get your G1. There is no order of operations. You may never drive a G-class vehicle. But I'll tell you this, if you get your M-class, you actually have the benefits of a G1 class, while you're being supervised. So if you get your full M, you can drive while supervised by a G-class driver with 4 years experience. Who'd have thunk? Okay. DUI if in vehicle with keys but not driving. Yes, your care and control is what it used to be called. Now it's just considered impaired operation. You are responsible and can change your mind at any given moment. You're still driving or operating in control of that vehicle, and as such, you're eligible to be arrested. There are situations where people have been in a motor vehicle impaired but had no means of operating that vehicle. Either they sent someone home with the keys, they left the keys in the bar with the restaurant, and they wouldn't get them back. There's ways I've heard where people have not had the keys or any possibility of driving, and those situations are different than if they have the keys on them or if they hid them under the seat type thing. You're still responsible as an impaired driver at that point.
So Logan's in chat and he can't hear me, so please give him a shout out.
Oh, Logan's in chat, and Q says you can't hear her, and I think I said everything. Oh, I shout out hey from Q. If you were watching on YouTube, you would hear her just fine, just saying. Okay. But, of course, TikTok's where it's at.
Here, someone needs you to fix their relationship or solve an argument.
Solve an argument between people. Their relationship is failing as a result of this question. What's the question,
Correct.
Q?
Should drivers use the pedestrian countdown to change how they drive?
What? Pedestrian countdowns are an indicator for pedestrians to determine how much time they have left before getting hit by a car. It's not something that you would judge as a driver. You should be independently, planning your driving, not based on how much time the pedestrian has left, because it's not your signal, it's their signal. But where are we going with this? What's the argument? Listen, everything you observe is going to give you some indication of what's about to happen. But when that countdown's coming down, that's not an indicator to go faster, which is where I would assume you'd be going with this question. Let's see here. I've heard an officer say that driving is a privilege, not a right. That officer was brilliant, because it is a privilege, not a right. You are not born with the right to drive a car. You are you get the privilege after passing tests and getting your license. So it can be revoked, and that's exactly what happens when you break the rules and we issue tickets and you accumulate points. You're tracked, essentially, and when you break the rules consistently, you lose that privilege. Let's see here. What is this? Are towns responsible for damage caused by a pothole? I can't tell you what towns do, but I believe there is a section of the Toronto website that talks about putting in a claim for damage sustained due to potholes. So there must be some liability to, and I'm talking about a little divot in the road. But if you lose a tire because you went through a pothole, there might be some responsibility there. So yeah, you should check it out. Can you drive a vehicle without a hood? It's my understanding that you are required to have a hood, and that it's part of your safety equipment. One of those reasons is if you were to hit a pedestrian, would they be injured with a spinning fan and so on? Now, there is, and Q makes a very good point, if you're dealing with a 1908 vehicle that was manufactured without a hood, it's a classic car that's OEM the way it came out of the factory and would be permissible. However, if it was a new vehicle, you couldn't remove it. A lot of laws are like that. If it came from factory that way and was legal at the time and year of production, it still remains exempt today. Oh, I wish I had another sound effect, but I don't. So I'll just make a big song and dance out of this answer, which is underglow illegal on motor vehicles? And the answer is, it depends. If it's poorly installed, if it could be violating other rules. If it's just projecting light directly down and nowhere else, then it's probably okay. I would still avoid light color of blue, red, or green because those are restricted, regulated colors. Otherwise, that's it. Is it legal to, what is this? Is it legal to drive after open heart surgery, like while you're still open? If your chest is still open, I think it goes without saying it's a bad idea.
Clarification was 2 to 3 weeks, sir.
Okay,
afterwards.
I was making a joke. Q is giving me a hard time because she says, no, it was 2 to 3 weeks after. The answer is it depends on what your doctor says. There's no law that says open heart surgery requires more time. The doctor, if they believe that you should be recovering longer or it would be unsafe for you to drive, will likely give you a medical suspension or give you direction not to drive. And Q says always get a letter. I don't know about getting a letter. I don't know if you've had open heart surgery. When I pull you over, I have no idea what your medical situation is. I will only know if they put a suspension on file. That's how I get to find out. And if you get involved in a collision, well, guess what? Your insurance company will probably know. And if there was any kind of allegation that you shouldn't have been driving, well, don't worry. They will find it when they pull your records, and they will find any reason not to insure you because if you did something that put yourself at risk, making sure that you're found responsible for that is what they do. Are interior lights legal? No, they should be removed from every single vehicle. Okay, fine. No, they're perfectly legal.
What?
And They're legal for use at any time. There's no regulation in Ontario for the use of interior lights. So if you wanted to drive around and have horrible night vision because you're leaving your interiors on, that's your right. But it is something that could contribute to lack of night vision, which could contribute to a collision, which could result in you being responsible for something or being involved in something. But it's not an offense under the HTA to drive with your interior lights on. Despite what my mother told me, it is perfectly legal. She used to say, "You turn off those lights before the police pull us over." Yeah, not a thing. Okay. Stop signs in parking lots. People who run them. So there's no offense that I can lay for someone who runs a stop sign on private property. I can't do it. I can't lay that charge. I can, if it's something that was beyond simply running the stop sign and they were doing laps in a track, like they built a track for themselves and or were running through stop signs repeatedly, and there were people in a situation where they were creating a dangerous situation, I could criminally charge them for dangerous driving or stunt driving, but not running a stop sign. And if they caused a collision, they're still responsible for that collision. Let's see here. Someone's asking the same question repeatedly and spamming my Q&A. You've had a whole bunch of questions. We're moving on to other people. Saw a Rolls Royce with. How does it feel? Oh, yes, I get to feel like a moderator. It's rough. There was a puppy in the last question.
To our life.
So, saw a Rolls Royce RR front plates legal. What? Remove. I don't understand what the question is. Saw a Rolls Royce RR front plates legal.
So they have a Rolls Royce, or whoever, they saw a Rolls Royce and they don't have a front plate on the Rolls Royce. Is that legal?
If it's registered in the province of Ontario, it requires both the front and rear plate to be installed as per regulations in a conspicuous place that is easy to see, read. It is legible. If they did not display the front plate, they're eligible for a charge. It's $110 for failing to display a pair of plates. If they put it behind the front windshield, it's against the law as well. People that put up flags can get fined now? Question mark. No, a fine for displaying a flag in particular. There isn't a law against flags. There is a law that prohibits people from having a load on their vehicle that is not secured properly. I saw some wild stuff, some giant flags attached to hockey sticks with unrated straps or means of attachment. That's illegal because that could become dislodged, fly into other vehicles, cause damage or injury. So that's illegal, not because it's a flag, because someone put something on their vehicle and didn't do it right. Have you ever pulled over people with drugs in the car? Yes, I have, and they have been arrested as a result of it. One of them was wild and crazy, and it was not just drugs. It was a whole lot of drugs, and I didn't even know about the drugs until we arrested them for impaired driving and searched their vehicle before impounding it. But yeah, I've had all sorts of fun stuff like that. Can police officers radar off private property? Sure they can. More often than not, we are there. If someone has a problem with us being there, they may ask us to leave, and we will do that. Generally speaking, we are on the edge of the road that is actually not private property, even though they may believe it. There's an area that is property of the road, so we're not until on the other side of the fence line. So there's an area where it's still public property. But you know what? If someone was upset that we were there, we'd probably find somewhere else to go. But that doesn't mean we have to. So it depends on whether it is actually private property or not. But it isn't. We're not prohibited. But I'm going down a rabbit hole. We're not prohibited from doing radar anywhere. But generally speaking, we'll pick a place that's not offensive to anyone.
Where can we find this podcast again? Is it on TV?
Really? This podcast? Well, this actual podcast, is it a podcast? This Q&A live stream is available on our YouTube channel, as with every one of them that we've ever aired since we started recording them on YouTube. It's available at Traffic Services Toronto Police on YouTube, and that's the only place it's available for replay. Now, we are doing something called TPS Traffic Jam. It is an actual podcast. It also airs on YouTube, but it's a different environment. We're not doing Q&A. We're having a conversation with different people, and that is available wherever podcasts are available, so Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and so on. You can get that on our YouTube channel as well, as using the podcasting thing. So if you want to drive around listening to my voice, it would be through the podcast app to do it legally. TPS Traffic Jam for the podcast and Ask a Traffic Cop. If you search the hashtag, you'll find tons of videos, but you can also do the Traffic Services Toronto Police. In fact, if you're watching on YouTube right now, I put all the different locations where you can find us on the screen. What's this? Always get a letter for clearance. Oh, 5 minutes away. Cool. Can you drive someone else's car without insurance? If the vehicle, because in Ontario it's the vehicle that is insured, not the driver. If the vehicle is insured and you are not prohibited from driving, because sometimes companies exclude you, then you're driving an insured vehicle. As long as you're licensed to drive it, you're legally driving it. Now, if you live with the registered owner, most insurance companies ask that you be on the policy. That's not something that the police care about, because if we pull you over, the vehicle is licensed. That's as far as it goes. That being said, if you get into a collision and they find out that you were driving it and you weren't under the policy, they may choose to deny a claim. And that is a problem for you, because the car goes bye-bye. And you may have other things that aren't covered. Let's see here. What's the fastest you've driven in a police car? I don't know. I've never done a speed test. And I'll tell you something else. So we're city cops. Driving quickly in a city is not necessarily driving quickly on the highway. 60 and a 40 feels really, really quick, when you're going lights and sirens and everybody else has stopped. It's speed differential. So it feels faster than it is. But going to shootings and things like that, I've gone what seemed really fast with your heart pounding, and you weren't really going fast at all. I don't have any desire to go super fast. I want to be safe. I want to get to where I'm going safely in one piece, because I have a family to go home to, and I don't want to become the next person to go through the emergency room doors. I've done that once. I was in a motorcycle collision on duty, just going back to the station after a collision report was completed, and a guy pulled out of a parking lot, and I ended up going for a short flight and a crappy landing. So yeah, I was off work for 3 months. And that's how I actually got into social media. But yeah, fastest, I don't know. Fast enough to know that I don't like going fast. Let's see here. I want to pick a couple of quick questions so we can wrap up the hour. And what do we have here? What's your favorite police car model? Like diecast? I like I always liked the Caprice Classic, and I owned one. I owned a retired police car for a while. It was my winter beater. And the Crown Vics work for me. Now, I'd love an F-150, but I don't have an F-150. I like those full-size trucks. I fit into them. I'm 6'5", so I fit into big trucks nicely. I do not like the Taurus at all. They should never have been made, as far as I'm concerned. And but that's just me, because I don't fit in them, and it makes me upset. In terms of the Explorers, are fine. I still don't like them, but I don't mind them. I just don't prefer them. My favorite vehicle to operate as a motorcycle, or I gave it away as a police officer, is a Harley Davidson motorcycle. There, I've said it. I'm a motor officer at heart and always will be. Let's see here. How long is a speeding warning on your record? A warning is a police file. It's a notation associated to you that is part of our computer system, and it's, I believe, there for life, at the very least the next 20 to 30 years. That way, if we pull you over again, we can say we gave you a warning and you don't get another one. The idea of a warning is to correct behavior before it gets worse. But we don't always give a warning. You can't expect that. Additionally, if you are, it's not something to do with the ministry. So it's a Toronto police warning when we issue it. It's a Waterloo Regional Police warning when they issue it, and it's their warning. When you talk about having a ticket, that's available on your ministry and your license, and it's available anywhere. Just got a used car. What do I need to do next? You need to register it within 6 days. You need to go and get that taken care of, get plates. Now, if you have no plates, don't drive it. You need to get insurance too. What else do you want to know about that? That's a good question. We should talk about stuff like that. Maybe I should get a car person, car dealer. We could do a whole show on cars. Maybe it'll be a podcast episode. Hey, do you know anybody who would be a good guest? A good guest on our show for our podcast? They're specialists in traffic safety, car stuff, safety, pedestrian, cycling. Logan. Hey, Logan should be a guest on our show. What a great idea. Q just said Logan. So, Logan, we'd love to talk to you about what you do out by you in Brooks, Alberta, because how you do things is going to be different than how we do things, and maybe people need to know just how lucky they are about the lower cost of fines. People say they get upset about fines; they don't even know what you charge in Alberta for traffic offenses. I think
He has a
they would have
question.
their you have a question? What's the question, Logan?
In Ontario, how high off the ground can bumpers be, like jacked up cars?
How high can a bumper be off the ground on a jacked up car? So you're talking about a vehicle that is raised, and the bumper? How I have no idea about the bumper, but in terms of body lift kits, it's 3 inches, and um, anything that is beyond that, I'm going to have to figure out, in terms of safety, as to whether or not that's a legit vehicle, because body lift kits are 3 inches. And we've had discussions about other lifts, suspension lifts that may be approved by a manufacturer. And I see vehicles that are taller, and I've not pulled them over. I don't think that there's a specific area that covers it in black and white. I think that it gets more complicated, and that's when our commercial motor vehicle guys are fantastic resources, because while I don't know, they do. So if I think something may be unsafe, I'll pull it over and call one of the full-time crew from our commercial motor vehicle section, because they're all about trucks all day long. But why? What is it out there by you? I want to know.
I literally just asked him that question in chat too.
It's like you're reading my mind.
We get trucks out here where the bumper is 4 to 5 feet off the ground.
Really? You would think that they're, you know what, I'm going to have to look into it, because it would make sense that they would relocate a bumper, because one of the reasons bumpers exist are for the safety of pedestrians and other vehicles. If the bumper is 4 to 5 feet above any other vehicle, it's monster truck rally time. I was just thinking about, what do they say? What does that announcer always say when he's doing the monster truck jam? Because that would be ridiculous. It would be unsafe. So I'm going to have to look into that, because now I want to do an episode on monster trucks on our roads. What's the fastest you've pulled someone over? I saw them go by, and right away I went and pulled them over. I don't think that's what they were talking about. I've had people in stunt driving easily over 150, but in terms of the fastest, I've not been the fastest in the crew. Like I've had people in my office pull people over 200 over, so I haven't been in that range. What is this? If I'm late for work, what's reasonable? 5 over? Nothing's reasonable. You're not allowed to speed. Speeding kills. Don't speed. Leave early. Don't be late. Plan ahead. Time to adult. But there is no actual permissible speed above the speed limit that I can tell you to go. I can tell you to set the cruise control at the speed limit, and don't go above it. It's the easiest way to play. Let's see here. We talked about bumpers already. Colton's asking about bumpers. Need a bumper. Does TPS have Dodge Chargers? Yes, we do. And let's see here. What's the lowest your car can be? 1.5 inches from factory is what the approved the mechanic guy spiel is, but truth is, police officers don't know what factory is, don't know what your original place is, so we're not going to measure 1.5 inches down from there. What we are going to do is see if there's any contact, make sure your suspension is functioning, because it has to be a functioning suspension, and some cheapies decide to chop their springs, and then their suspension doesn't work for crap, and then that's going to be an unsafe vehicle. If your vehicle has any body to tire or frame to tire contact, that's going to be an unsafe vehicle. Then we'll take your license plates and send you in for a safety. And then, lowering a car, if it's done properly, is safe. Lowering a car when it's not is unsafe and shouldn't be on the road. And it may look cool, but it looks, I've seen some that don't look cool at all. They look pretty silly. Some of them. How do I get my licensed e-bike? Sorry, how do I get my e-bike licensed? I go over 32 kilometers an hour. Well, you can't. You'd have to send it to Transport Canada to be evaluated. You probably have to send 12 of them identically as a manufacturer to get it to be legally provided a VIN, at which point you'd have to get it licensed, insured, and you'd have to get a motorcycle license, even if it's a low-power motorcycle license. So, they're not street legal, period. You can't have them. So, you just can't. But talk to them. Maybe they have a new program that will be created for you. But at the moment, a manufacturer has to do it, not an individual. Let's see. Let's see. Stop favoring YouTube. We love you more. Actually, I always favor TikTok. It's not that I don't love the folks at on the other platforms. TikTok's where it's at. That's where we spend most of our time and effort, and we share everything we do on TikTok everywhere else. It just happens to be that the technology gods did not cooperate with me today at all, and I think I'm going to order some more adapters because never again do I want to be at the back. What is it? What am I looking for here? Where's my adapter cable so I can show off what really annoyed me today? Where'd it go? I got too many.
By annoying me with that?
Yes, this wire. I think this is a knockoff wire that somebody gave me. It doesn't feel the same as the other one. I don't think it's an Apple thing. It didn't work. Didn't work. That's it. My rant is over. Hope you all do well and that you have a magical day. I hope to be back in the office tomorrow. And if all goes well, we will see you at 10 a.m. tomorrow. And I'm gonna go upload another video. Then I'm gonna make lunch for the kids. And that's what I'm doing. I'm doing what I got to do today. And then tomorrow I'll come do it with you. See you then. Take care.
Bye. Oh, they can't hear me. Well,
They
bye
can't hear
YouTube.
you. Bye YouTube. And
Favor
and
me
Q said
more.
bye, but it was just